Hello friends, I am in the greenhouse today making a video because it's just too hectic and loud in the house, and I'm just never going to get this video finished if I didn't come out here. So there might be, there's a crow outside that was making some noise and other things purring and whirring, but I'll try to get through this relatively painlessly. I made a 9x6 Monet Journal, and I made a pocket boho for my little collection here. And when I was finished making them, it's the first time this has ever happened, I realized I wanted to make another Monet image set, but the journals were already finished. So I went ahead and made the set and printed it up to go to the gal who's going to receive this journal, and I cut them out and distressed them, but I thought you might enjoy a quick flip through of these. This is Monet's family, and I actually, the reason that I made this whole other set is I was going through this journal, looking through it one last time before I made the video, and I saw a picture of someone who's supposed to be Monet's wife, and I wanted to find out her first name. It was Camille. And it was his first wife. And when I went in and started looking at the history of the family, it was so fascinating that I decided to do another image set. So I'll just flip through quickly. Camille was, she was a model for the painters, and Monet fell in love with her, and she actually became pregnant before they got married. Jean, their first son, was born in Paris. He had her stashed in an apartment so his family wouldn't find out. And so many wonderful pictures he did with Camille. This is the only known photograph that survived of her. And she had two sons with Monet. Now Renoir painted Camille in this one. And this was by John Singer Sargent, Camille and Oscar Monet painting in their garden. Renoir also painted this, Camille and the older son in the garden. Love the chicken, it's so colorful. And this was the picture I looked up. This is Camille, and I assume, actually, if they were at Giverny by the time this was painted, that might be her second child that he painted. This is by Monet. And another of Camille by Renoir. Great colors. Camille reading by Renoir. And another. And this is Camille by Monet. This is a Monet. This is Camille in costume. I think all of the Impressionists went through this little period where they were experimenting with Japanese designs and such. I know Van Gogh did that too years later. So this was that picture. This was an early picture that I read actually was rejected at a showing when Monet presented it, and all three women in this painting were modeled by Camille. And another of Camille by Monet. And this was the picture of Camille that Monet painted on her deathbed. And they said that he kept this. He never sold it or commissioned it or showed it, and kept it with him his whole life. So as Camille was sick, Monet had been off. He was married to Camille. He had been off painting for these wealthy families in the countryside to earn their living. And I believe you pronounce it Hocheday. The Hocheday family was a family that he painted for, and they ended up they were very rich, and they ended up going bankrupt. So Monet had this sick wife, and the Hochedays were in transition, and they got an enormous house out in the country and moved Monet and then his two children with the very ill Camille and the Hocheday family. And Alice nursed Camille and you know, took care of her. And when she passed away, Alice's husband skedaddled. He was absentee. And she just stayed in the house with her 6 children and Monet's 2, and they raised the 8 children there. They got married years later. So this is Alice, the second wife. And that is another artist who painted Alice. This is Blanche, one of the daughters of Alice, and she ended up marrying the oldest Monet boy and ended up, after he and Alice passed away, taking care of Monet in his old age. She was also quite a painter in her own right. This was, Manet. Manet painted the Monets. And I even put a note here. Monet started signing his earlier works Claude Monet, so he wouldn't get confused with that Manet fellow. Another one of the Hochaday daughters married Theodore Butler, who was an American painter, and they really weren't in favor of this marriage, but I guess he had a lot of money, and this was a portrait taken of their wedding. And it goes on and on. These are some of the gals out in the gardens, and that's Blanche, who became the painter. This is fun. This is a photograph of Oscar and Alice Monet, 1904. And lastly, these are some of the landscapes that Blanche, the stepdaughter and daughter-in-law of Monet, painted. And obviously they're of the gardens there at Giverny. So I put all of these in an image set that I put in my shop and called Monet's Family, if you're interested in that. And then I also made a little paperclip boho thing here for my daughter Sarah, Izzy, who has quite a few of all the themes I've done on a bulletin board in her place, and I made her a Monet to go in there. Okay, let's set the little guy aside, and let's take a look at the big journal. The cover image, I actually cropped it's landscape, and I took the middle out of it because I love this. I don't know who posed for that in the meadow. Love the purple tree there. And I actually found these flowers at Hobby Lobby, some Monet colored buttons. And it's got cheesecloth and canvas layered underneath the image. Some really antique looking older trim. Goes all the way around the cover. And the French writing, of course, on the canvas. For the tassel, I did what I did for Van Gogh. I actually bought them at the same time and bought earrings from an Etsy shop. I'm sure if you type in Monet earrings or Van Gogh earrings, you can find the shop without a problem. Lots of fun Monet type fibers. And I just loved the sari. This all came off the same skein, and one end of it was purpley, and it just captured all those different shades. I honestly thought that Monet would be a teal or aqua colored primarily, and when I thought it started going through all of the images to see what I wanted to do with the covers and the sari, I realized he needed to be purple and blue, maybe a little periwinkle in there. So, okay, inside the front cover, I did use some of that teal blue. Just love this image. The sky is so vivid. And this also was a larger picture that's landscape shaped, and I narrowed it down. The boat, the gondola on the water in front of the building. And just stamped some paintbrushes there on a tea-dyed index card. This is a Renoir, painted that of a young Monet. and the different colors there, and some paint splotches inked on, along with the artist stamps. And inside this tea-dyed card, Monet's Women in the Boat. And there we go, a little postcard. Monet loved to paint the clouds. He has wispy clouds and fluffy clouds, and I just thought that was a good theme to keep with there, looking through my ink stamps. Oh, the threads. Let me get them combed out here. It's like having a messy animal that you're always smoothing the fur. I did 3 different colors of tails when I sewed around the pages, and for the first time ever, I actually put them in order. That was not easy. 4 signatures, 3 colors. I had to divide out what I was going to sew in what color. So, okay, where was I? Some pretty tea-dyed older lace down there. The women walking there. Monet said he painted the colors. He wouldn't go and try to paint a field. He would paint the pink here and the yellow there, and then the objects and the shapes would take form themselves. So pretty. Great boardwalk picture. And that's lunch in the garden. And dragonfly. I'm sure there were lots of pollinators out there in that beautiful garden. Some stenciling and tea-dyed doilies. So this is the full landscape picture that is on the cover there. And there's another person, probably a gal, in the flowers in the field there. And I put a artsy word on each of the dangles. This one is Inspire. Some burlap, pretty landscape. When I print the journal kit out for Monet that I have in my Etsy store, I print it smaller to make mine, and I print some of the tags smaller. You might try reducing the print size if you guys want smaller tags for your journals. And here is the Monet Clip that I made for this journal. Some really pretty sequined stuff that I'm sure came from Sheila Gingrich over at Boho Daydreams. Little button work there, little palette paintbrushes on the edge. This is a pretty antique trim. I did not tea dye that. It is just that old and antique-y, all on its own. Love some of these darker colors, working the purple with the green there. It's a lot of fun. Beautiful sunset over the water. That's another Monet by Renoir. This is a self-portrait of Monet. And the quote, "The light constantly changes, and that alters the atmosphere and beauty of things every minute." I love this. The pink worked in with the dark field colors, just beautiful. And there's a full picture of the one that was cropped on the front page. Made a little patch there. And this tab. Love the lilies. And the little patch I made with Camille. Just beautiful shades of everything. Reminded me of the lily pads and flowers that he painted so often. His 2 red houses. Just patched some material back here. I love that house. And I love railroads. Many of you know I've got a caboose in our yard, a real train caboose, and it looks like Monet went down several times and painted trains at the train yard or station there. Little tag says create. Just love the colors. I'd love to do train journals one day. And the fabulous Japanese bridge there over the lily pond. And that was Camille, I read. Posed for that. She must have enjoyed picking out a good book, dressing up pretty, and plopping to be painted. I could think of worse jobs to have. These are just some of the mini versions of these pictures. And a little tag there. Some paint swatches with their colors. I went through all of them and tried to figure out how to cut it out to get the greens and blues on top. And some pretty vintage purpley, it's a dusty purple color of pom-poms. Just flip those right over. They go perfect. It's like, do you have a rug with fringe on the end? You can do the same thing. Flip it over and all the little fringe goes out flat. Some artsy stenciling there. And just love this beaded, I guess you'd call it a silk mesh. I'm pretty sure the mesh is silk. Another beautiful landscape. And I made this mini into a little corner tuck. Love the chef. Le Pierre Paul. My French pronunciation is atrocious, so forgive me. These are 2 photographs and a Renoir painting, all of Monet. Good looking young guy. And I'll hold this up so you can pause and read the quote if you want. Some more pretty bright blues there. Love the girls on the hill. Again with the clouds. They're not there, but they're in every picture. I thought this was kind of periwinkle purple. It's pretty. Some lace trim that I made a little pocket. Here is the mini of the cover image. You seem to have a feeling for drawing. And look at those pinks. Isn't that just something? And that tag says artist. Another gal in a garden. Just made a little pocket there. He liked cliffs. Loved the boats in this one. The red roofs on the houses at the top. I have a whole bin about this big. Well, my hands are off the screen. I have a mini bin full of these flowers, and I have just made a point to try to use them more. I tried to layer all the Monet colors. Fabulous. And this was his yellow irises. I guess he did several. And the boardwalk tag. This is my first attempt at doing fancy stitches, I guess I want to call them, down the ruffle. Carol Laws does them perfect. I want to sew like you when I grow up. And it came out nice. I knew it wouldn't be perfect, but I am getting better. Monet by Renoir. And Monet did paint some sunflowers. With the beautiful poppy field there. Asters, that's one of my favorite still portraits that Monet did. Little tag there and some patching and stenciling. And here's a pretty flower. Another Japanese bridge, much darker colors in this one. And some mini images for pockets. Little folded tea-dyed postcard there, and sticky tags. Come on. Well, Liz. Okay, that will get inked when I go in. So, love the boats. Again with the cliffs. Cliffs by the seaside. I'm thinking he spent some time there. I think this one was a self-portrait. It looks like Renoir's painting. I can't remember, sorry. A little mini pocket there. He was in his 70s or 80s when he painted that. That was a self-portrait. And that's his house at Giverny, where all the beautiful gardens are. A little stamped. And these are just stitched down in back of this pocket with another layered flower at the top. Wanted it to pop off the top there. Some of that fun ribbon that looks like it's been cross-stitched that I have in pink and blue. This picture confused me for so long. I could not figure out. I assumed that this is a woman's hat hanging in the tree limb there, because the two women, you can see one and there's a shadow of one walking into the garden to have lunch. The hat always threw me. It's a beautiful picture. Looks like somebody's handbag is already out there on the bench. It's some more lilies. And I put that on the page with this embroidered goodness hanging off. There's some blues in with the purples, just really pretty stitching. They have this by the yard on bolts at Joann Fabric. At least they did most of last year. So, and they had several different colors and designs if you guys are looking for that. Beautiful. Signed Claude Monet, not to be confused with that Manet fellow. And then the back cover, I made it kind of a gallery or collage of the minis, made this into a pocket. And then I did some patching with the color swatches on the fabric there, and some lace to make a pocket. Just a small tea-dyed index card there. So that is Monet. The little one really is almost duplicate of the big one. The other earring has Monet's portrait on it. So like I said, you can find these earrings with these images on it on Etsy. If you do a quick search, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And this is the smaller one. I did remember that these only have 3 signatures and not 4 this time. The last 2 that I made, I just get in the mode, in an automatic mode, and a journal, of course, should have 4 signatures. They all have 4 signatures, but not the pocket bohos. Those are 3. And I won't flip through this whole thing, but let's just peek inside. Just love that house picture. And really, it is quite similar to the bigger one. Did not do as well on the ruffle. Just zigzagged it straight down. But, had the extra little flowers there. Similar charms. And for this one I put a smaller size doily there, and again just made a pocket. I like those. They kind of round out the the foofage. That's not a word. Well, it is now. But, and the back cover. So really quite similar. Okay, thank you for coming out to the greenhouse. This worked well. I might film a course out here, or at least part of it. Just put everything I needed in a bag and brought this big arm that attaches my iPhone here, so I could attach it on the shelf in front of me, and this worked well. I don't think you guys can hear too much of the fans going or anything, but thank you for stopping in and checking this out. And I'm canning inside the house today. I have everybody keeping an eye on my pots and my canners in there while I ran out here to do this. We'll get that course out to you just as soon as I can, and I'll give you a closer time frame as I start filming it. So I do appreciate all of everyone's support and notes and well wishes, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.